You're welcome.
Notoriously.
Thank you. You're welcome to today's LinkedIn Live session. Today I'm live with the amazing, energetic, beautiful, intelligent, the one and only Dr. T. Dr. Tony Sam Emehelu. I'll just introduce us to Dr. Tony by reading her profile very briefly. Dr. Tony embodies excellence in the realm of education, leadership, and business consultancy. As an educationist, certified leadership mentor, and business leader, she stands at the pinnacle of her field as the CEO and lead consultant at Core Skills Transformational Academy Limited. Armed with a doctoral degree in education planning and management from Crowell University, USA, along with a certificate in public leadership and policy from the School of Politics, Policy, and Governance. Dr. Tony's role as Senior Special Assistant to the Director General at the Chartered Institute of Mentoring and Coaching Nigeria, a fellow at the Chartered Institute of Management Consultants, and a member of the Pan-African Consultants Association, showcase her exceptional knowledge and expertise, making her a luminary in consulting spheres. Driven by a fervent desire as a knowledge dispenser, Dr. Tony has authored 28 books, and I have some of those books, by the way, solidifying her authority and proficiency in the knowledge space. Beyond her literary contributions, she actively engages with advisory boards of reputable organizations within and outside Africa, amplifying her influence. At the vanguard of training and development, she serves as the training and development lead at Equip Nigeria, John C. Maxwell's non-profit organization, embodying visionary leadership and a profound commitment to transforming the world through leadership. Her journey is marked by a tapestry of accomplishments with numerous international and national awards. A devoted wife and nurturing mother of two budding leaders, she epitomizes a harmonious balance of professional acumen and cherished family values. Dr. Tony's magnetic presence and electrifying influence continue to carve an everlasting imprint on the educational landscape, inspiring, leaving an indelible mark, and shaping the trajectory of those fortunate to encounter her on an extraordinary journey. Ladies and gentlemen, friends, please welcome with me Dr. Tony Sam Imehelu, an astute educator. You're welcome, Dr. Tony.
Yes, thank you so much, Notoriously. Thank you for having me, and I'm super excited to be here live. I am currently outside the country, but I'm so happy that I'm still able to do this.
And I'll just say welcome to Lagos.
That's how we roll, right? When you are an international consultant and when whatever it is that you do is being sought after, even outside the shores of Nigeria. Thank you so much, Doris.
Well done. So, by the way, Dr. was in Benin last week, I guess.
Yes,
or was it the upper week now?
Yeah, that was last week.
Yes.
Monday, Monday I was in Ivory Coast. Right now, I'm reporting from Port Nouveau.
Okay.
Yes.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Well done. So you are really the best person to talk to us about this. I don't know why, but when I thought of this topic, your name was what came to my mind. So I see now that it was a great decision. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So shall we dive right in?
Yes, please. I'm ready. Okay. Yes. Okay, yes. So it's this evening, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time you're getting to watch this live session. First of all, I want to say a big thank you to my convener, allow me to say, for bringing this beautiful session to your screen, speaking about the 8 habits of healthy educators. You know, it's not a coincidence that my name came to mind because I have had my own share of burnouts. I've had my own share of mental health stress. So I will not just be speaking from a theoretical point of view, but I'm going to be sharing insights based on experience, based on exposure, based on what I have been through myself as an educator. By the way, it's my 27th year of being an educator, actively spanning through
Wow.
teaching at all levels. Right now, more of school transformational projects, and that's what I've been on. Well, let me say in the last 3 weeks, I've actively been out of Lagos, which happens to be my state of residence. I was in Abia State from Abia. I was in Edo State from Edo State. I was in Ivory Coast from Ivory Coast. Um, I'm right now reporting from the Republic of Benin, Port Novo to be precise. And before I came on this live session, I've had to have a 45 minutes nap. So let me start from there. Mr. Yossi sent me a message a couple of hours or minutes ago. I didn't respond because I needed to be sure I'm well rested and prepared for this session. Okay, so basically, what I'm going to be sharing with us today, we'll be covering the 8 habits of highly effective educators, and we're going to be focusing on, the aspect of being sure that you that are going to be watching this, listening to this, are going to have actionable mental health and wellness strategies. Okay, it's going to be a smooth and a lovely ride. And like I said, I'm going to be sharing a lot from my personal story and how over time I've also been able to juggle a lot around myself. So I get this question being asked to me every day. So how do you cope? How do you manage? How do you juggle everything together? Today you're on the podcast, tomorrow you're on the webinar, next tomorrow you're in the seminar, day after tomorrow you're at a conference, you're a mom, you're a wife, you have 2 children, you have to still play your role at the home front, you're a mentor to many, and all of that. So I think we are in the right stead, and I want you to take your pen and your notepad and get ready as we dive in. So the first thing about how to be an exceptional educator is that you need to prioritize self-care. Number one, you need to prioritize self-care to prevent burnout. It is important that you prioritize self-care to prevent burnout. Like I told us, I've been on a school inspection all day, came in at about past 5 years thereabout, and I knew I was still going to come up live here 7 p.m. So what did I do? I had to take a nap for about an hour so that I'm put together and be able to dish out value. So what do you do? Yes, as educators, we give out so much of ourselves to our students, school communities, irrespective of whatever you are in education, we are always giving. So self-care often can be sidelined if we are not careful. Okay, so what are the practical boundaries between personal time, especially after work hours? You want to engage in simple restorative practices. Now, this restorative practice differs from persons to persons. For me, a nap does it. I can have 15 minutes nap. I am that I'm that gifted. Let me put it that way. I can have a 30 minutes nap. I can have
I
a 10
wish I
minutes
could
nap,
do
and
that.
and it's always very refreshing for me. So it all depends on what restores you. So for some people, it could be mindfulness. For some people, it could be breathing exercises. For some people, it could be short walks. For some people, sorry, excuse me, it could be blocking out 15 to 30
Is
minutes each day that is solely dedicated to doing an activity that you love. For some people, it could be reading. So music is also something that I love, especially it's music helps to regulate my mood. So that sometimes it's slow songs, sometimes it's the very fast one that does it for me. I love to dance as well. It's also very therapeutic for me. So whatever it is, creative hobbies, it could be journaling, it could be drawing. You need to identify, what is that thing that fills you up. Okay, so really self-care is not selfish. You want to write it down because it is
mm,
essential to help you sustain impact. Self-care is not selfish because it is essential for you to sustain your impact. And then burnout does not only just affect you as an individual, it affects your classroom, it affects the school morale, it affects the students' outcomes. As a consultant, it affects your clients. Because if you are not in the right state of mind to give value and give quality, if your body is not put together, You won't be able to travel like I have been doing in the past 2 to 3 weeks actively,
Yeah.
and still able to give the school community and your clients the best of you, because your mind can be very sound, but your body cannot carry. I mean, your sound mind cannot excel in a weak body. So you have to understand that you are a spirit, you you live in a body, and you have a soul. So you have to take care of those three parts of you: your spirit, your soul, and your body, for you to be able to have a good stead. Now, the second point I'm going to be talking is about cultivate a positive support system. Cultivate a positive support system. Don't feel like the almighty. There's this movie, I don't know if you have watched it, Olamitoyosi, something the almighty, I
Which one?
forgot it. you know
Is it
uh
Bruce Almighty?
yes, Bruce Almighty. You remember
Yes,
how
I watched it recently again. Yeah.
remember how Bruce was like, I can do everything, until God had to show him that, hey guy, you can't
Hmm.
do everything.
Yeah.
If you think you're El Shaddai, you will soon die. So don't feel too competent that you don't need a supportive network, because a supportive network
Easy.
actually significantly boosts your resilience and reduce the feelings of isolation. Okay, and it's also, something that we need. We need, especially in the teaching profession. You need to collaborate with other teachers at work. You need to find a support system that works for you. So you don't want to just be jumping on the next available flight like Dr. Toyin. Guess what? My mom is a huge support system. As I speak, she's actively been in my house for
Mm.
almost 2 weeks now. All right. Your spouse is a supportive system. All right. Your siblings could be a support. Your neighbors. We are beginning to, feel very competent and say, oh, I don't really need anybody. Hey, people, educators, you need other educators to be able to excel, to be able to do all the things that you need to do. So you want to make sure that you identify peers, mentors, even online groups, support groups for educators where you can share your experiences and strategies. You want to regularly connect with a network for advice, support, new perspective on challenging situations. You want to build and maintain open communication, even with people that have gone ahead of you at the workplace, your school administrators, about your stressors and your mental health needs. A lot of us educators, we will not say anything until we finally break down. And that's not healthy for
Mm.
us. Neither is it healthy for the children that we teach. So you want to make sure that you have a strong support system that are linked to better coping skills and improve mental health. You want to also be a support for other people. Okay, because they say value begets value. When you being a support system to other people, when it's your turn, okay, to when you have days when you need support yourself, what you then realize is that it's easier for you to get support, because people also understand that you have your weaknesses, whilst you have also support them while during their own time of weaknesses. So actually seeking for support and leveraging a support system is a mark of emotional intelligence and professional
Mm.
maturity. So you don't want to be as though you don't need support in any way. So that is very, very important. So if you can listen to me, if you are here on the live call, I just want you to type in the first point again, which I simply said is that you need to prioritize self-care to prevent burnout. The second point, I said you need to cultivate a positive support system, right? That is very, very important. Then number three, you want to set realistic expectations and goals. Yes, in as much as we all want to achieve great things, everyone is looking forward to being a great achiever, which is fine. In fact, if you ask me, I'm someone that is always, I've been talking about goal setting. I've known about goal setting virtually all my life. Sorry, excuse me.
Easy.
Right from even when I was a teenager, I'd already started setting goals. But you know what? As a teacher, you don't want to feel too pressure to achieve perfection in your role. This can actually lead to induced stress. Okay, so what are the things that you want to do instead? You want to aim at setting realistic achieving goals for yourself, your students, and your school community. Please let me take some water.
Please go ahead.
Now, you have to also learn how to let go of teacher guilt. Teacher guilt is when you begin to take on, you know, whatever areas your the students around you are not doing well, maybe cognitively, in affective
Is that
domain,
number
or
four?
sorry.
Is that number four?
No. I'm still on number three. So I
It's
want
still
that's
number
I'm
three.
still,
Okay.
yes, I'm talking about setting realistic expectations and goals. So in this kind of teacher guilt comes with when you have taken too much responsibilities for the inadequacy of your students or your school
Mm.
environments. You must be able to have a very balanced understanding that you need to celebrate progress above perfection. As the child or whatever it is that you have done, your learning outcome, have you moved from point A to B, is worth celebrating on your way to point Z. All right. So you want to make sure that you also break down larger goals into smaller, manageable steps so that they don't tend to overwhelm you. Now, another thing is very important under you setting um, realistic expectations and goals is that as an healthy educator,
Do you want to get some water?
yeah, I have some with me here. I don't just know, my throat is
Oh,
just feeling itchy. Okay, another
sorry.
point is that as an healthy educator, you want to know when good is enough. Okay, you want to know when good is enough, and you want to be able to adapt to unexpected changes like
Mm.
students' needs, curriculum adjustments, you know, and while you're trying to be very, very valuable and all of that, a goal or a plan is not a cast in stone. So you want to know when you need to navigate. You want to know when you want to be adaptable and flexible, because adaptability and flexibility are lifetime skills. So as an educator, you must be able to have that, such that you can model and live with that, not just in your professional setting, but also in your day-to-day living. So I go to number four now. Number four, you need to be able to develop emotional regulation skills. I know a lot of us have heard about emotional intelligence and the various components. The first being self awareness, the second being self regulation, or what other people call self management or self control. So, this second skill is actually very, very important. Why? Because when you develop emotional regulation skills, what you then realize is that you are able to know when you are aware of your emotions and know how to respond appropriately. So one thing I always tell my children is when you are excited, self-regulate. When you are sad, self-regulate. So self-regulation is like having that internal rudder where you can control whatever is happening in your external and internal environment, especially what you censor through your emotions. All right. So you want to be able to be mindful about how your emotions are running, and you must have techniques on how you want to reset your emotions, especially during exciting moments or after challenging moments in your life or on the job. You also want to be able to reflect on emotional triggers. What are those things that trigger you? Is it a thought? Is it a word? Is it an action? Right? Is this what somebody said or what somebody did not say? Is this somebody's body language? You have to be able to identify what triggers you per time and identify ways to address these triggers positively. All right. So you want to leverage on some exercises such as journaling as a way to process your emotions and track your patterns over time. So I also use my social media as a reflection Two, especially when I've actually done a major project that requires me to reflect. So I'm sure Mrs. Toyosi has been seeing my updates on my 5 days experience at Edo State with Edo Superb. So beyond the fact that I'm putting it out there, it also gives me an opportunity to track patterns and see, okay, how did this project actually go? So it makes me accountable to want to share, because oftentimes there's just this very fast-paced life that we live in, and we want to move from one thing to the next. We don't actually want to take time to reflect. And as a 21st century educator, you must, I repeat, you must be a reflective practitioner. Very, very important, because this will also help you to regulate your emotions. So, emotional regulation really isn't about suppressing your feelings, okay? It's about how you can leverage on them constructively. So, as a teacher who manages their emotions, you can model the same skills to your students, community, and then what happens is that you're able to create a positive ripple effect on everyone that comes around you. So a lot of people say, "Sorry, we've never really seen you down. You're always in high energy and high spirit." Not at all. When I'm alone, I actually keep quiet. I actually reflect. I actually try to think through, not because I want to be sad, but because I just want to take time to reframe what has happened. What did I do well? What didn't I do well? What can I do better? So as a reflective practitioner, one thing you also discover is that you keep getting better, because beyond what people say, whatever type of criticism they give you, destructive or constructive, you are able to tell yourself the truth. And having done that, you then also are able to have healthy habits, especially when it comes to your mental health and how you're faring in life generally. So, number one, I talked about prioritizing self care to prevent burnout. Number two, I talked about cultivating a positive support system. Number three, I talked about setting realistic expectations and
Realistic
goals.
goals for expectation.
Yes, number four, I just spoke about developing
Developing
emotional
regulation
regulation
skills.
skills. Also, well done, Olabiteosi. That means you are really, really following. So, number five, you want to make physical health a priority. Hey, people, as educators, your stamina matters a lot. Your stamina matters a lot. So, physical wellness is a major pillar for mental health. Okay, it's often sacrificed due to work overload, especially for consultants like us that do more of sitting in front of the screen, or school leaders that don't really actively engage students in the course of the day. You want to incorporate short bursts of exercise, even if it's a 10-minute stretch or a quick walk. You want to prioritize sleep, okay, aiming at minimum of 7 hours to 8 hours per day to fully recharge. So you can decide to share your sleep pattern. It doesn't have to be a stretch. And especially now that we are on midterm holiday, you want to take enough time to rest your body. You need to stay hydrated. That's why I have my bottle of water. Okay. It is not for fancy. You need to stay hydrated and fuel your body with nutritious, food that can sustain energy throughout the day. Please, teachers, always have your bottle of water. Why? Because we do a lot of talking, and we must talk sense. We can't afford to talk rubbish. So there's a lot of metabolism going on within our brain and all the aspects of our speech, our speech channels. Okay, so you want to make sure that you stay hydrated, because the more you speak, the more you use a lot of fluid around your body. So the link between physical health and mental resilience is well documented. Simple adjustments like eating or movement breaks can add up to majority wellness improvements. So oftentimes the reason why in fact I usually have 1 hour work every day, but because I've been doing a lot of traveling and I've been doing a lot of trainings, I've been standing a lot, then you also need to be able to know when your body is also stretched physically. Okay. You also need to, so don't say, oh, they say we should exercising every day. So there are times when you are, I mean, for the past 2, 3 weeks, I've been standing and training from like about 9 a.m. Maybe I have like maybe 30 minutes break till about 4 p.m. So with this, just because I have my, what is it called now? I have my smart wristwatch is able to tell me how many steps I've taken in a day. So that helps regulate. So once I've taken at about 5 to 6,000 steps and above, I know okay, my body has moved quite enough for the day. On that smartwatch too, I'm able to check my blood pressure. I'm able to check my BMI and some very very critical health statistics that needs to keep me healthy in the course of the day. So let's move on. The sixth one is we need to create and follow a structured routine. It is important that we create and follow a structured routine. Now, what routine does is routine actually makes life predictable. It reduces stress and enhance productivity. Now, even aside from for you as an educator, routine and structured, I mean structured routine, what it also does for your children is that it makes them a lot more stable, even emotionally. When I say children, both your biological children and the children that you teach, or even if you're not a teacher but you're an educator, I mean, maybe you're into measurement and evaluation, quality assurance, school leader, sectional leader. I mean, educator is a wider term that we use. What structured routine does for you is that it just helps you to also keep organized, being organized. I remember when Mr. Toyosi reached out to me initially, I said, oh no, that time is not going to work because I knew I was going to be on transit. I was on transit between the primary school and the secondary school here in Port Novo because I knew that time was active time for. So I'd already told her, okay, let us reschedule for this time because I know this time I'm a lot more settled and I can plan my day ahead. So it's very, very important because routines creates predictability, it reduces stress and enhance productivity. When you begin each day with a consistent morning ritual, even if it's a simple as short as I wake up in the morning, I say my prayers, I read a book, I go on a 15 minutes walk or whatever, I take care of the children, and the children also know. Okay, what all of this does is that it helps you to have a list of your daily priorities. And when you have a list of your daily priorities, mentally, you are freed up to do what is expected. And then you're also able to know where to fix people per time. People will not just barge into your day and take over your day just because you are not prepared ahead and you don't have a structured routine. So within your routine, you also want to create shut down time at the end of the work day. What is it that you would significantly do that will transition you from work mode to personal time? You also want to be able to schedule some non-negotiable breaks throughout your day to recharge. So what does a well-structured routine gives you? It gives you control over your day. And when you have control over your day, it helps you to increase productivity and peace of mind. Above all, it is about creating moments of rest within the demands of your day, your week, your month, and what have you. Now, the next is that number 7 is that you want to embrace a growth mindset for professional and personal development. It's a very, very healthy habit because as an educator, you cannot give what you don't have. And one of our most, how will I put it now? Our greatest asset as educators is the development of our minds. Okay, our spirit is very important. However, one of the places where we have a reservoir of value to give is in our minds. So you want to make sure that you set a goal to learn something new. It could also be around teaching, it could be something around wellness strategy. So, for example, one of my learning goals, short learning goals, is I want to learn French. I've been in a French environment and Can you imagine? It was the French that I knew way back years back that bailed me out. And I was like, you know what, Dr. Toyi, you are now an international consultant. You cannot afford not to learn this language because the two official languages that we have across the world is English and French. Okay, so I've been procrastinating on that, but now I'm taking it a lot more seriously because I had a lot of issues where I had language barrier over here. All right, so it's something that now it has become a necessity for me. So what is that thing for you? And then you want to also view challenges as learning opportunities and not just as obstacles. When you're also given feedback, in fact, you don't even have to wait until you're given feedback. You want to proactively seek for feedback from colleagues, from supervisors, even from people that don't know as much as you do. Now, what constructive feedback does is that it helps you to refine your skills. All right. And then you want to make sure that a growth mindset and an open mindset is something that you do all the time. So you want to focus, from surviving to thriving. You want to move from surviving to thriving because the capacity of what you know will also determine the capacity of what you earn. And that's just the truth. A lot of educators complain, we don't have money, beyond what you are teaching your children. You have to learn life skills like selling skills. You have to learn leadership skills. You have to know, these are skills that come along with whatever thing that you're doing. Because an educator that is equipped with these skills and the one that is not equipped with it, the difference is always clear, like 7 up, like we say in Nigerian parlance. So remember that every experience had to your toolkit as an educator, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And this makes you more efficient and resilient. So even when you view the seemingly not so good experiences and see them as a learning curve, you then have a different perspective, that your colleagues will have. Then you want to practice gratitude and celebrate your small wins. That's number 8. Number 8, you want to practice gratitude and celebrate your small wins. Okay, that's my final point. I will do the recap at the end of this point. So the key idea is that you want to regularly practice gratitude this can help you shift focus from challenges to the positivities in your life, and this actually boosts your morale. Somebody somewhere, I think I was reading something, or it says that um, ingratitude and gratitude are the two most powerful emotions
Dr. Swing, are you still there? I think we lost her for a while. Okay, I think she's having network issues. Remember that she's not at home really. So, what are some of the things that stand out for you in today's session? Would you please share with us? We finally just start. What are some of the things that stand out for you? I like the part where she talked about embracing a growth mindset. Okay, so she said something that a lot of educators keep talking about money. Oh, they don't have money, they need money, and all that. But it is imperative to develop other skills. And then she mentioned selling skills. How many of us have good selling skills? How many of us can market a product and get people to buy it? Either we're selling a physical good or we're selling a service. How many of us can do this conveniently? This is one skill that you need to master. You need to master having a selling skill. Apart from selling skills, we also need to consider leadership skills. These are other skills that we need to work on and develop as we go along as educators. Because when we do that, our toolkit as educators become wider and bigger and we become better people. These are life skills anyway. And it's also important to seek for feedback. She was talking about practicing gratitude and celebrating small wins as our number 8. Remember, today we're looking at the 8 habits of healthy educators. She's going to do a recap, but I'll just mention a few things. The very first one was to prioritize self-care. What does self-care mean to you? Self-care can be anything to different people. For Dr. Toyin, for instance, she took a 45-minute nap before our session. For someone who was in Benin, at the beginning of the week, was in, I think Cote d'Ivoire also was another country, was back in Nigeria by last week, I think. Yes, was in Benin, facilitating a training for people with SUBEB, for a team at SUBEB in Edo State. And then from there, she moved to Port Novo, from where she's taking this live session. One of the things that help her to remain on her feet, to constantly deliver, is self-care. So our very number one point is to prioritize self-care. For her, taking a nap helps. She also mentioned dance. For some, it might be music, it might be mindfulness, it might be yoga, it might be taking a walk. Whatever it is, find something that helps you to stay in shape, that helps your mind to stay alert, that helps you to be at your very best. So what is that one thing for you that you have learned today? Okay. All right. Amaka has dropped a few things. She talked about embracing the growth mindset. She talked about moving from surviving to thriving. That is very important. I'll just add point 8 that Dr. Toyin just mentioned. She asked us to practice gratitude. Practice gratitude and celebrate. Okay, she's back. You'll excuse me. Yes, she's back. So point 8 was practice gratitude and celebrate small wins. Over to you now, Dr. Toyin. You're welcome back.
All right. I believe we can all hear me. Can you all hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right. Okay. So, like I read in a book somewhere, and it says that ingratitude and a heart that is grateful cannot cohabit. In other words, if you're someone that is grateful, ungratefulness will be far from you. Okay. And this is one thing that we all as educators must embrace, because, gratitude is beneficial to our spirits, it's beneficial to our body, it's beneficial to our soul. So some of us may say, oh, what do you mean that I should be grateful? Do you know how things are going on around me? Do you understand? You don't even have an idea of what I'm going through. You are already an established educator, yada, yada, yada. But the truth is that nobody that you see today just appeared from the blues, all right? Everyone had a process that they had to go through. And sincerely, gratitude is one of my own most powerful weapon as an individual. And that's something that I do tell people, that when you are grateful, what then happens is that the magnitude of your problem gets to be reduced. When you're grateful, your body secretes an healthy hormone, okay? The dopamine is being secreted, and when the dopamine is secreted, what then happens is that it creates the kind of health that you don't have to use medications. When I mean medications, you don't have to use drugs or tablets. You just be on a high on your own, and we all need this. The fact that we slept and we woke up, the fact that we still have breath in our nostrils, we don't have to pay a dime for this, it's enough reason for us to be grateful. Yes, things might not be the way we want them to be, but they are not the way they used to be. If you want to be sincere with yourself, irrespective of everything, and God is so faithful, right? He will not allow everything around your life to go down. That's just truth. At the same time, nah, it's never going to happen. And it's been said that a man cannot live 1 minute without hope. You can't live 1 minute without hope. So the fact that you're still hopeful still goes to show that you have something to be grateful for, right? It's been said that a man can even manage to live 24 hours to 48 hours without water. We can afford to live almost about a week without food, but we cannot live a minute without hope. So I believe with all these things that I've shared, I think it's been a long session already. You agree with me that if you take on all of this, you will, we will indeed have healthy habits as an educator. So I think this is where I'm going to be wrapping up the session, except if you have
Thank you
questions for
so
me or the
much.
audience have questions for me, seriously. Yes.
Thank you so much, Dr. Toyin. So, do we
Yeah.
have any questions for Dr. Toyin before we let her go? Any questions about all that she has talked about? You said something about moving, that we should move from surviving to thriving. So, I'm going to take you up on that. In one
Okay.
or two minutes, can you talk more on that? How do we move as
Okay.
educators from that surviving mindset to a place of thriving? Understanding the times and seasons that we live in and its impact on educators and their finances.
Mm, interesting. Now, one of the things that I'm going to say about moving from surviving to thriving is, first of all, we have to start from our mindset. We have to be able to believe that irrespective of whatever is happening, right, um, we can always succeed. It looks so trivial. It looks so, how will I put it now? It looks so simple. It looks too good to be true, but that's just the truth. I mean, before this economy became like this, I don't think I've had so much opportunities to travel, outside the country than I
Interesting.
do right now. And the reason is because I have made up my mind that whatever it is, I'm unstoppable. I have seen this bigger picture a couple of years before now. Like I tell people that I have like my 30-year plan. Okay, people are really surprised. I'll be in my 70s plus, tending towards the mid 70s. And none of these things I've written down, I've envisioned, and they are playing out right before me. So you want to have a desired picture of the future. Okay, it's been said that there are many eyes that look, but few eyes that see. Okay,
Mm.
you want to take some time to see and to become a co-creator with your source. So whatever your source is, it's left to you. But being a Christian, I am a strong person of faith, and I believe because I know that His word has told me that faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. So even if I've not seen those things, you know, I hold on to it as a substance. I hold on to it as real. Then when you now develop capacity to see, right? I'm not talking about to look. They are two different things. Some people have dreams while they are asleep. Some people have dreams while they are awake. I'm talking about the dreams you have while awake.
Mm.
Right? So you want to be able to conceptualize and trust in your source to always guide you along the right path that you should go. That's according to Psalm 32, verse 8 from the Bible, which I believe in so much. So that's the first thing. You want to be able to cooperate with the God factor in your life. That's number one. Number two, you want to have mentors. You want to have coaches. No matter how, yeah, you may say that a lot of them are expensive right now. Yes, they have to be expensive because they're investing a lot in themselves. But you want to start with podcasts, you want to start with books, you want to start with YouTube videos that are readily accessible. So they may not give you distilled wisdom, they may give you general knowledge, but then as you do that and you're able to apply that, you then begin to develop the capacity where you can be a lot more valuable, and then in return you can be, pay something substantial, and then you can invest in mentors and coaches. I say this because I have a business mentor who happens to be someone that is outside the country. He's still, I mean, he's almost 10 years younger than I am. But then I'm so accountable to him such that it pushes me out of my comfort zone. So people think that, oh, Dr. Toyin is self-driven and all of that. Yes, to some extent. I remember when we were having our business review goals the last quarter of this year, he then told me, he said, Dr. Toyin, you have to move from this amount of income to this amount. And I literally screamed. I screamed because it sounded so ridiculous to me at that moment. And I was like, I'm this kind of person that when you set expectations for me, I try as much as possible to meet it. And the next thing he told me was that, hey, I'm not expecting that you will do everything with your power and with your might. I'm expecting that you would do your best, however, that you would trust the universe. You would trust your source to also give you the kind of support that you need. And all I just had to say was, okay, yes, coach, I believe and I agree with you. And sincerely, you can't believe that month I actually superseded the target set for me when it comes to my
Wow.
business financially. I mean, I don't want to mention figures here, but it's in ton of millions, right?
I
And
will come and ask backstage.
right, and when he saw it, he said, "I told you, all I just needed for you to do was to believe in yourself as much as I believe in you." You don't know what that statement did to me. So you need to have someone that believes in your potentials that would help you to see further that you can see. By the way, I have been mentoring educators structurally since 2017. I think I've mentored over 500 educators across the world, right? Because it's something that I have been a product of strategic and highly helpful coaches and mentors. If you see me do anything today, I never work alone. Still driving back to support system. Okay. Another thing I want to say about moving from surviving to thriving is also the kind of people you surround yourselves with. Okay, look at Toyosi here. I mean, we found ourselves in a place like, we need to, and there, we tied it down. We are here, voila. I can't say since when she has been conceptualizing this place, but for some reasons, she's very intentional about where she moves, the environment she thrives, the kind of people she reaches out to, and all and all. So you want to be very, very intentional about your association because it's being said that you are the average of the 5 people that you spend the most of your time with. So even as though you are excelling or existing as an individual, the truth is the community, and when I say the community, I don't mean just the physical community. It could be the virtual community, because right now the virtual world is kind of more real than the physical world. I mean, look at Toyosi in Lagos, Nigeria, look at me in Port Novo in Cotonou, and we're having this session. And I mean, if it was maybe Netflix or something else, people will find it very exciting to binge on. But here we are sharing practical strategies,
Yeah.
so you want to be in the right communities, virtual, physical. You want to make sure that you have relationship with your peers, you have solid, I mean, valuable people that you can reach out to and that can reach out to you. So oftentimes you always feel that it's all about getting. Nah, it's more blessed to give than to receive. For example, I mean, I didn't have to ask Toyosi for a dime because I know that this platform is something that she's also giving. And I believe that I'm also giving. Okay, so it's something that you also want to be a strong community member to other people around you. Okay, and then of course, last but not the least, you also want to do this very important thing. You want to be able to set actionable goals for yourself. The third law of Newton says that every object, all right, remains at a state of rest except a force has been applied. So your goals are um, they're like the force that you apply into your life, and then you have to make your goals smarter. I know a lot of people have heard about SMART goals, but now it has been extended to smarter goals. S being for you want to make sure your goals are specific. M means you want to make sure your goals are measurable. A, your goals are achievable or attainable to a reasonable extent. All right. R, you want to make sure that your goals are relevant.
Yeah.
Okay, and T, you want to make sure that your goals are time bound. Now, the E is that you want to evaluate your goals. So a lot of educators, we evaluate students' work, whether formative or summative or diagnostic, but we don't evaluate our lives oftentimes. All right, so you want to be able to evaluate, and you want to be able to
Dr. Tony is off again. Okay, Dr. Tony is off again, but we are rounding off already. In another 10 minutes, we'll be out. She was talking about the fact that we have moved from smart goals to smarter goals. Smarter, she was talking about the E, and then she was explaining that when she was taking out. So we have talked about the 8 habits of healthy educators. And in rounding off, I asked her to talk about how to move from surviving to thriving, because she had talked about moving from surviving to thriving, that we should move from surviving to thriving as educators. Now, to move from surviving to thriving, yes, we lost our connection again. To move from surviving to thriving, she shared different points on how to do that. Number one is to start from your mindset. That's one thing I've come to realize myself over the years, that in order to change a person or where a person is at, you need to first change how the person thinks and what the person thinks about. So the mindset is always the place to start. She challenged me when we talked about having a 30-year plan. When I was 17, I sat down and I do a 15-year plan. Okay. Recently, I think last year, I sat down to a 10-year plan moving from there. And it was a lot. It's someone's birthday today. Is that Joanna? That hasn't popped up yet. Happy birthday. Yes, it's Joanna. Thank you so much for joining, Joanna. I hope you have fun today. Okay, enjoy yourself. We're running off in another 6 minutes. Really, I was just hoping. Okay, Dr. is back, so she just finish up our thoughts. She just finish up our thoughts the R, and then we'll be out of your head. Thank you so much, Dr. Toyin. So I was just saying that you challenged me with a 30-year plan. The most I've ever done is a 15-year plan. You're welcome. Thank you. The most I've ever done is a 15-year plan. So now finding out that someone has done a 30-year plan is a challenge for me, and it's something I'm going to sit down to look at. And yes, I'm surprised that Dr. Tony noticed, but it shows how observant she is, that I am very particular about the circle that I am found in or that I network with. It's important. You must have value to give, okay, and we must align along certain values. That's also something we want to look at when we're talking about surviving and moving from surviving to thriving. We shouldn't just do anything, accept anything, or go anywhere because we want to move from surviving. There must be a plan. So when she talked about starting from your mindset, she talked about also having a plan and cooperating with the Godhead in your life. That's very important. Have mentors and coaches. Listen to general knowledge for a start. That means podcasts, reading books, watching videos on YouTube. Get the general knowledge before you begin to look for the distilled knowledge. It's important. She talked about having a coach. It's important to have a coach or a mentor, someone who believes in you, someone who sits further ahead and can challenge you to do the same. Let me also add that there's nothing wrong in having a mentor for different areas of your life. For instance, I have a parenting mentor, I have a school leadership mentor, I have the spiritual fathers, like we call them in the church. And then, of course, I also have business coaches and I have a wealth building coach. So, and that's apart from following people in those areas that apply to me or to my life. Okay. So, I think I'm going to have to round off for Dr. Tony at this point. She did join a minute ago, but it seems that her network is bad. Just a minute, please, as we begin to go. Okay, so she talked smarter goals. She talked about evaluate your goals and then revise those goals. When you have set the smart ones as the S, the M, the A, the R, and the T, when you get to T, you evaluate, you check how far have I gone? Am I on the right path? Is it leading me to my destination? And then you revise those goals. If they have been achieved, set new ones. If they are not leading you the right path, you might need to modify or make changes. At the end of the day, what we have learned today is that one, we have to be healthier, we have to thrive, and then we should set smarter goals. So don't be afraid to revise your goals, don't be afraid to change or modify. Remember to keep forging ahead, to keep going ahead. Number 8 says practice gratitude and celebrate small wins. Make sure that you constantly live in a state of gratitude, remembering that gratitude keeps you healthy. One, two, ingratitude cannot dwell in the same body as gratitude. Thank you for joining my LinkedIn Live. I look forward to engaging with you in another form and in another session sometime soon. Have a fantastic afternoon, morning, evening. See you soon and bye.